The two sisters, Sumi and Suyeon, return back home to their house with their father. Sumi, the elder sister, just came out from a stay in the mental institution. The two are not happy at all to be greeted by their cruel stepmother, while the stepmother also dislikes the sisters. Sumi suspects that the stepmother has been abusing her younger sister Suyeon, and she resents their father for doing nothing, despite her telling him about it. It is always awkward for the four of them to be together, as there will usually be arguments between Sumi and the stepmother, while Suyeon just keeps silent. It is shown that the father gives the stepmother her medication pills, possibly for some existing illness or anxious episodes. Sumi thinks that the house and their stepmother are both very strange. One time, she was scared to her wits upon seeing a bloody dead fish wrapped in a paper inside their refrigerator. Also, she had a nightmare where a woman with long black hair and blood dripping down her legs was standing on top of her. One day, Sumi and Suyeon go through a stack of old family photos. They are all there together, including their real mother and the stepmom. There is also a photo of only the father beside the stepmom, an indication that the two perhaps met through their professions and were already having an affair way long back. While browsing through the photos, Sumi notices scratches and bruise marks on Suyeon's arms and intensely asks the sister who did it. Suyeon just cries and couldn't answer. Deep inside, she knows that it is the stepmom. The stepmother invites his brother and his wife to their house to have some dinner together. It is obvious in the two that they feel uncomfortable with her and seem to be just forced to come because of their request. The stepmother begins to act weirdly and talks about their past events that the two visitors do not remember at all, as if she had been living in her own world. The sister-in-law, who can actually see ghosts, begins to choke and falls to the floor. Later on, she reveals that she saw a girl under the sink, a black, grotesque creature. Later on, the stepmother goes to check under the sink, and a lady figure appears sitting on the chair, catching her attention. When she turns her attention back to the sink, a dark hand comes out and grabs her. One evening, the stepmother goes to look for her pet bird, which she suspects that the girls have harmed. She runs to Suyeon's room and barges towards the sleeping girl. The stepmother sees the family photos, where her face was drawn and crossed out. Fueling her growing anger more, she discovers the dead bird under Suyeon's sheets. The stepmother forcefully drags the scared and crying Suyeon to the cabinet and locks her inside it as a punishment. "Unless you admit to what you did and ask for forgiveness, you cannot come out," she said, as Suyeon screams and cries for help. Sumi wakes up from a noise and goes to find her sister in her room. She sees Suyeon locked up in the cabinet. The elder sister comforts her younger sister and feels sorry for being unable to protect her earlier against the evil stepmother. A huge argument ensues between the father and Sumi. The father is pent up with frustration and tells the daughter that she has been acting very weird ever since coming back to their house. And Sumi tells him that it is the stepmom who has been weird and who keeps harassing Suyeon. The father then shouted, "Stop it! Suyeon is dead." Sumi can't believe what she heard. Her mind goes into a daze, and everything becomes a blur and warps. Later on, she wakes up with a hazy mind and a weak body as she sees the stepmother dragging a bloody sack that contains a body and hits it non-stop with a golf club. She loses consciousness again and then wakes up. This time, she tries to untie the bloody sack while calling out Suyeon's name. She looks for a tool to cut the sack open. While doing so, she gets some flashback scenes, some memory snippets of herself hitting the sack with a golf club and taking some pills. She just shakes off these strange random memories that came to her and continues to find something to help her open the sack. Unknown to her, the stepmother is behind and begins to attack her. "I am sick and tired of your family," the stepmom laments. Sumi grabs the scissors and stabs her hand, but just as she is running away, the stepmom catches her leg and Sumi bumps her head and falls unconscious again. She wakes up to her stepmother holding a mini concrete statue over Sumi's head and drops it to kill her. At that moment, the father returns home and sees the unconscious daughter with broken concrete slabs and pieces around her. He runs to help his daughter. Then, the father goes in and opens the cabinet to get some medication pills, and there he discovers a hidden bloody doll. The father hands these medication pills to the stepmother, who appears extremely mentally disturbed. "Take your meds, you will feel better," he said. Slowly, someone enters the room. The stepmother looks shocked and frozen. The person who entered is herself, but she is the real stepmother. Slowly, the one sitting turns into Sumi, and it is here that the truth is revealed. Sumi had been taking on the identity of the stepmother as well. She gradually recalls herself pulling the sack and hitting the doll inside it. She also recalls herself breaking the bird's neck. Also, she recalls taking her meds given by the father. And moreover, the day when she arrived in the house, she was alone and not with her sister. Soo-yeon was just imaginary, and Sumi was both herself and the stepmom. It turns out, everything was just inside Sumi's head. Everything is all her hallucination due to a mental illness. It is caused by a severe trauma that she experienced some years ago, back to when her sister Soo-yeon was still alive. The father and the stepmom take Sumi back to the hospital, and while in solitude, Sumi gets a flashback of what caused her trauma. Their real mother suffered from depression due to the affair that their father, who is a doctor, was having with the nurse, which is later on their stepmother, that he even brought her to their house. As a result, the mother took her own life by hanging herself inside the cabinet and by taking some pills as well. Soo-yeon discovered their mother and was pulling her out when the whole heavy cabinet fell on her. At that time, the stepmother heard the loud bang, went to check and saw what happened, but she ignored and pretended not to see. Just as her conscience rang and was about to go back to save Soo-yeon, Sumi came out of her room and upon seeing her, stopped the mistress and told her to stay away from their family matters. You might regret this moment, the stepmother said and left, leaving Soo-yeon crying for help, but in a silent voice that no one could hear. Sumi then left the house and looked back to see the stepmother glaring back at her, still clueless of what happened to her sister, who then died a few moments later. All these years, Sumi had been suffering from dissociative identity disorder as a result of her fractured mind coping from the trauma and guilt from her sister's accidental death and their mother's suicide. She feels guilty for had she not stopped her stepmother from going into her sister's room, Soo-yeon might still be alive. All this time after the traumatic incident, her mental illness caused her to imagine Soo-yeon as still alive. The trauma also resulted to her taking on and embodying the identity of their cruel stepmother, therefore acting both as herself and the stepmother. The father tries to be patient with her and helps her by always giving her the prescribed medication pills on time. Meanwhile, the house itself is also haunted by the spirits of Soo-yeon and their mother. But beyond this, nothing can be worse than the ghost of heavy guilt that had been haunting Sumi, that which ruined her mental stability and caused her to disassociate with the real world. What do you think of the story? Let me know your thoughts by leaving us a comment below. Please like and share if you'd like more of our movie recaps. Please remember to subscribe.